What's up, guys? How's it going? Welcome to today's trade recap or market analysis session. Today is April the 5th, and today we actually took one trade and did happen to get stopped out for around 69 or 70 ticks. Not the worst trade because risk was managed effectively, but since today was that low volume Monday that we have been expecting, it's not common that we take a losing trade, and we'll go into why. But I do expect this video to be quite short video because we're just going to recap this trade in the entire day, and honestly not much happened throughout the entire day, and we were filled with choppy price action. Just take a look at these wicks right here. It's quite insane. But essentially, just I marked out my levels. There's a high right there. We had this high right there prior to market open, this low, this zone, and we also had this low right here. On ES, we had similar things as we saw in NQ, but we did have a bookmap liquidity down there, which we did want to see get taken, but unfortunately we did not even really get there on ES. But one thing we could have noticed is that 850 lower liquidity was taken, so we might expect it to take upper liquidity. So let's go ahead and check what the bookmap at 850. Shout out to Alex with Think with Bookmap. Once again, great resource. Highly recommend you guys to use. So right at 950, what looks like happened was that we started seeing a big reaction from this 5655 level on Bookmap. And something I do not like about this is that look at how much liquidity we have down below, right? But price settled for the 655 level on ES. Something like this I do not personally enjoy because I would like to see it get onto these major magnets on Bookmap before making such reversal. But it does look like we took that out, and from there we started pushing up towards higher liquidity, towards the upside liquidity, which we did take at 935. But if we look at the trade which we took today, we actually took a short. And why? Because we did understand that lower liquidity was taken, but on NQ, upper liquidity was also taken, and same applies here on ES. So now that upper liquidity has been taken, potentially there could be fuel to see the downside play out, right? Because right at this time where we were looking to enter short, we saw our major level and major target on Bookmap still be there, and we estimate that to be a big magnet for price to head towards. But unfortunately, price did not have enough volume, first of all, to get down there, and price just didn't want to do what it was supposed to. It's not the best way to put it, but the shorts didn't come in, taking out the slower liquidity likely because we're targeting 243 ticks minimum, which is a reasonable target. But if we look at our actual target, it's likely going to be around 300 to 400 ticks. And for a single move for that to happen very quickly in such low volume days like this, there's a very low chance. Additionally, price action was very choppy. But let me just go over the actual reasoning for the trade which I took, right? So right here, what I saw happening was that distribution of liquidity, or the spread of liquidity on Bookmap, was starting to move down with the price, and structure was also moving down. So it's showing me that price is changing structure, all heading towards the downside. Additionally, point of control in the volume profile also told us that price should head down to this Bookmap liquidity. But we saw this supporting barrier show up, and we want to enter off of a breakthrough. and it did look like we break through, and once it broke through, we did take an entry there. But what happened was that even after the breakage, buyers continued to hold this level below as well, around 667 area, with passive buyers, which did end up pushing price higher, which did hold. So once we realized that and saw this upper barrier start to hold as well, upper barriers start to break, that's when we exited for a minor 69 ticks, which is not too much. Risk was managed quite effectively, so not necessarily a bad trade that we took today. Just it could be better if the market conditions worked out as we liked it to, and potentially we could have avoided taking this trade if we observed a barrier showing up below once again, in which we could have exited because we saw buyer support. Then likely we could have exited in the profit run 20 to 40 ticks, but nonetheless, it's either a small loss or a small win type play, which we should not worry too much about because this is a low volume day. So I'm not taking it too much for granted because this usually would work on higher volume and higher volatility days, which we did not see because look at all these wicks right here and look at the size of the moves that we are making. Now, if you look on the footprint as well, right around that time where we made a reversal, right, down at these lows, what we put in was we put in lots of volume alongside heavy seller delta. And since that seller delta lined up with this barrier on Bookmap, that further validated the idea of passive buyers being within the market at those lows, which in turn pushed price higher and higher. So honestly, if we entered, we did get a decent exit. Potentially could have been a bit sharper, but not complaining about it. Or we could have stayed flat because of price action and because there isn't the clearest distribution of either delta or liquidity on Bookmap, because we are seeing that buyer barrier continue to hold. But overall reasoning wasn't bad. We should have just understood this hold of this buy barrier, signaling us to exit and potentially re-enter when we see the correct signals, and the correct signals did not show up for the rest of the day. So unfortunately, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. I mean, we could see the 9 a.m. reversal, and if you look at it, it's hard to actually see why it reversed at that time, on Bookmap at least. Let me see on footprint if I notice anything. Okay, so on the footprint at those highs, what I do notice is that we did put in some heavy buying delta up at the top, and we saw seller delta follow near the top and start pushing price downwards to this area where we couldn't push back above. So that does signal absorption, but we never go by simply one confluence. We look for several things to line up, which would not have shown. So today was likely supposed to be a flat day or a lost day, but regarding our strategy, there really wasn't anything done wrong other than minimally get a late exit because of invalidation, but not a bad day nonetheless. That's pretty much going to be it for this video. We make these videos every single day here at V2 Trading, and if you guys are confused with any of the topics that I've mentioned in this video, please join the Discord. The link is in the description. Everything is completely free, or feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to answer there as well. That's pretty much it for me today, and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next analysis episode. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.